All right. Well, good morning, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Carrie Ernst, and I'm the Executive Director of Independent Living Nova Scotia. I'd like to thank you for joining us today for the presentation of ILNS's 2020 Lois Miller Tulip Award. This year sees unprecedented times calling for unprecedented measures for the safety of both our consumers and our staff. And that's why this morning we are presenting this year's award virtually to you. This year's recipient is at the new ILNS office with my assistant, Caitlin Phillips. Lois Miller and I are both presenting to you virtually today. And it's hard to imagine that after 10 and a half months, we're still on Zoom. I am so glad that the rest of you have been able to join us on Facebook Live and Zoom. And for those of you that weren't able to join us, that you've been able to catch this video after the fact. Independent Living in Nova Scotia, or ILNS, supports Nova Scotians with disabilities through programs and services that promote independent living, enabling individuals to live the way they want, stay in control of decisions that affect them, and break through barriers that are in the way and develop their skills. It is the vision to live a full independent life at work, home, and play within an inclusive community. ILNS champions the right to live independently and supports individuals in their pursuit of independence. It is this vision and mission that follows through all our services to the consumers throughout the province of Nova Scotia. I am so proud to be part of this amazing organization and working within this community. Miller Tulip Award recognizes a person, group, or organization that exemplifies the spirit of independent living and enables people living with disabilities to have control and informed choice over their lives. This award was first presented in 2012. Lois Miller's legacy. Lois has served as the executive director of ILNS for 13 years before she retired in early 2011. She brought to the position her varied experience in nonprofit organizations as a teacher, public relations officer, fundraiser, municipal politician, and literacy program coordinator. Lois received an MA in English from Queen's University, an honors BA from the University of King's College, and from Dalhousie, both a BEd and a certificate in nonprofit sector management. The Lois Tulip Award is to honor her tireless and active leadership on behalf of people living with disability. This year, we received several nominations for the award. However, out of those applicants, 5 individuals put forth this year's recipient, which shows how much he has impacted the lives of persons with disabilities. These nominators described him as being a strong voice for persons with disabilities and the issues that they faced in their efforts to live independently. He has also overcome a variety of barriers to lead the independent life that he wants to live. Our recipient has continually voiced these issues through his contribution as a journalist for Street Feet and the Nova Scotia Advocate. Moreover, his involvement with the Benefit Reform Action Group and the Community Society to End Poverty illustrates his commitment to making life better for all Nova Scotians with disabilities. This gentleman fully embodies the spirit of independent living, and we thank him for all his hard work to make life better for all Nova Scotians with disabilities. To introduce this year's recipient, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Lois Miller.
Oh, good morning, everyone. And a special good morning to you, Kendall. And I'm going to be introducing you, Kendall, as the winner of this year's Lois Miller Tulip Award. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
Glad to be here.
Yes, me too. I'm glad to see you. I wonder, Kendall, do you know any of the history of the Lois Miller Tulip Award?
Other than the fact that I've known over the years a few different people has won it, and I know the concept around it, which is really exactly what Carolyn Ernest just explained. Um, Other than that, there's not really too much about it. I do understand that one of the past recipients of this award was Jen Palvey at one point.
I believe
Yeah,
so.
I know Jen Palvey. I've had the honor of getting to know her over the past few years of my life, and and she is an amazing woman with cerebral palsy and also a past recipient. Yeah,
Okay,
and she's really
well,
fighting for her independence, and
she certainly is. And
I've been following her quite a bit
mhm.
and her story and everything, and yeah.
It's a fine group of people, Kendall, who have received the award over the years, and you mentioned one. Um, this all started when I retired in 2011. I had been executive director, actually, Carrie, for 13 and a half years. I always raise up, so I say 14 years. But it's hard to think that so much time has passed since my retirement. When I retired, my friends, families, colleagues donated funds, not for a gift for me, which I did not expect them to do, but instead they donated to a fund so that Independent Living Nova Scotia every year could give an award to a person, or it might be a group that demonstrated the spirit of independent living and supported persons with disabilities to live independently in the community. Uh, my friends called it the Tulip Award because I love tulips, still do, and grew hundreds of tulips in my gardens at our house. Tulips are a wonderful symbol of spring and new life and hope to come. I have some tulips actually behind me this morning. Uh, and I know you are a most worthy recipient of the award, Kendall. I remember years ago often meeting with you when you were a writer for Street Feet, when we were all in the Bloomfield Center together, and a lot of good times we had there, I think. And during those years since, I've seen you pursue your career and your passions to give voice to people who often don't have a voice, including people with disabilities. And that, of course, also includes people with disabilities we don't see, uh, and also people living in poverty. And sadly, disability and poverty often go hand in hand, as I know you're aware. Well, now you're an award winning writer and activist. You've courageously shone a light on problems that society often wants to keep in the dark. I read your January 23rd column in the Nova Scotia Advocate, and that was a very good example. You wrote that the provincial government's income assistance transformation has likely come and gone. Transformation means change, and you showed that in fact there has been very little change in that whole process. That kind of writing and action takes courage, as I know you're aware, Kendall. Many people are afraid to speak up in case they might lose the assistance that they need and rely on. So I'm very proud to see the Lois Miller Tulip Award go to you, Kendall, and I wish you continued success with your writing and activism. So over to you. Perhaps you may want to make a few remarks.
Thank you. The whole thing, Lois, that you were just mentioning about how people are scared to speak up and about how like about the transformation and everything. That was the whole reason as to why I got into starting to write for the Nova Scotia Advocate. And I've been following this whole issue of poverty for a long time, and it is sad for people to know that persons with disabilities who in some cases cannot hold down a full-time or part-time job at all, and then in other cases are able to have a job where per se they can work like so many part-time hours per week, 20 hours or less, are within the mix of people who have no choice but to have to deal with this whole issue around employment support and income assistance issues. And the whole community of people who have no choice in life but to have to deal with this system goes, of course, above and beyond persons with disabilities. But disability includes both invisible and visible disabilities. And when you look at the definition of disability, that also includes mental health issues as well. And it's because of people having no choice but to have to deal with that system that I talk about is what plays a part in over the years, what caused those people to have no choice but to have to deal with the mental health side of their disabilities. And because dealing with that system, it raises anxiety, it worsens depression. Every case is different, I should mention, like one case is different from the next. But I talked to a person at years back who was an employment counselor, like for what he does for a living. And I was just talking to him like in general conversation. I wasn't a client of his or anything, but just someone I know in the community. And something he told me a few years back was, one thing I would never do is put someone who is in a wheelchair and who has very limited or no movement at all in a type of job where they're going to have to clean a few thousand seats in a football stadium. I would never put someone with that type of disability into that position, he told me. And I agree with him 100%. A person should never have to be in that type of position for work-wise in order to hold down just any old job they can find. And that's one side to it. But when it comes to mental health issues, the depression, it worsens as years goes on because of various issues that people have to deal with. And part of that big issue comes from the fact that when you look at the income assistance rate, which is currently the $850 standard household rate, that's not enough money for those people to live on, and that's just like worsens depression when out of that 850 rent, the power bill, phone bill, that's all going to come out of it. In food and medications that are not covered for the pharmacare plan and that we're on, and there's a lot of nonsense that they put you through in order for you to qualify for the special needs allowances that are available, which is something else that I talk about. And there's a lot of other things that come into play here, in addition to these people having problems with the employment support and income assistance program through Department of Community Services. These same people are also having issues with the mental health system. And if you put them both together, put it this way, community services and the mental health system, they behave like they do not want to collaborate with each other for number one. If you look at those systems within itself, even though they are yet both government. But number two, in addition to this, is when the cause of what goes on for Department of Community Services causes that same client to also have to use mental health services, that is putting unnecessary strain on the mental health system. The other way of looking at this. And you know, it's just sad that those people have to live with it. And yeah, that pretty much sums up what I got to say. And that's all plays into the history of why I started doing this.
We certainly can tell that you're passionate, Kendall, and very well versed in what you have to talk about, which is exactly why, you know, your advocacy was recognized for this year's award. And we so appreciate the work and the voice that you give those that are living with disability in our community.
Yeah.
So I believe that Caitlin has a certificate for you. So if you want to
I'm gonna
stand.
put the mask on while she's giving me the certificate. just in case
Perfect. That's
Social distancing is an
excellent.
issue.
Ooh, look at that nice mask.
Yeah. The reason why I kept the mask
You
on
look
for all the
handsome.
viewers is because Kaylin and I were socially distancing the whole time while I was doing this. She said to require 2 meters apart from me. But now that she's given me the
Excellent.
award, better be safe than sorry for all you viewers.
Right on.
Yeah.
Alright, you wanna get us, Kendall? We can get some
Yeah.
photos.
Okay, see how far back I gotta stand. to do
Oh,
that.
yes, you're pretty tall.
Yeah.
Alright, great, so we'll get a few where I can't. read
Excellent.
it.
Congratulations, Kendall. We are so, like I said, very proud and thankful for all the work that you do.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You got a couple?
And for any of you viewers that are seeing this, that might not have saw what I do yet, just to let you know, my stuff can be found in the Nova Scotia Advocate. The Nova Scotia Advocate does have a website, and we also got a Facebook page.
Yeah, lots of good reading there, Kendall.
There
The Nova
is,
Scotia
yeah.
Advocate certainly brings lots of important information to Nova Scotians. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. I wish that I had been there in person today, but better safe than sorry. So thank you for coming in. I'm glad that we were able to finally do this. Thank you so much, Lois, for joining us. I appreciate your time this morning, and I am forever grateful for all the work that you've done in the past and over the years, and continue to do with your advocacy. So thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bill?
Take
Thank you.
care. Be safe and stay well.
Lois and Carrie, and yeah,
All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.